Johnny,
Hi, Coach.
what's up, dude? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
How's life? What are you doing? What are you off school for?
There was like a student teacher conference thing.
Nice. Professional day, right?
Yeah, it was a professional day.
That's what we're doing right now in a bunch of meetings. But this is my favorite meeting of the day for sure.
Thank you. Um, I'll introduce you and we can get into it. Do you want us to stop it like hard stop at 1?
I could probably, yeah, that's cool. I just got to get across to again do another meeting, but don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. Even if I'm
Yeah.
late, I'm
I
okay about that.
we can aim for 1. I mean, I don't think it should take longer than, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that'd be good. Um, okay. We've got a big one today. Joining the Lax Locker Room is Coach Brian Farrell, head coach of Boys Latin, one of the most legendary high school lacrosse programs in the country. Coach Farrell's a Maryland Terp, former pro lacrosse player, and all-around defensive beast who's now coaching some of the best players in the game. Get ready for some stories, advice, and maybe a few locker room secrets from one of the best to ever do it. Let's get into it with Coach Farrell. Thank you for coming on.
Johnny, thank you so much for having me, man. Fired up to be here.
Yeah, no problem. To start off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up and how you first got into lacrosse?
Absolutely, man. So I'm a Baltimore native. I grew up right around here. I actually went to Boys Latin School when I started going to private school in the sixth grade. And then I played here for 4 years and graduated, went on to the University of Maryland, where I was lucky enough to play actually 5 years there. I had to do a redshirt year there for 1 year and graduated from the University of Maryland and was lucky enough to go off and play a little bit professionally after that, but got got to get into the coaching world, caught the coaching bug, and now I'm here uh, so many years later, coaching lacrosse here at Boys Latin again.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you think that like playing for so many years helped you like learn as a coach?
Oh, absolutely. I actually think one of my biggest years was the year I had to take off because of an injury, and so I was on the sidelines a lot, learning from the coaches, hearing what they're saying on the sidelines, what went into game planning, how you watch film, and then obviously when you get to play, taking what you've learned on the sidelines, taking what you've learned in the film room, and then applying it to your game. Certainly take a lot of those experiences and use them now as a coach.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what year did you have the injury?
I was injured in 2009. I got hit in the ribs, and actually one of the ribs broke, and it cut a part of my muscle outside of my ribs, and I started having some internal bleeding for a long time, and it caught up to me a little bit, and I had to go get surgery down at shock trauma actually, and they had to take out about 2 liters worth of blood outside of me. So it was a little
Wow.
moment, but I made it through, which was good, and
Yeah.
use that experience to help me again with the coaching piece, big time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Glad you survived. Um, what was it like being the team captain of Maryland?
It was an honor. It really was. I mean, if you know, well, you do know a lot of Maryland alums. You're
Yeah.
probably one of them. Playing in Maryland is such a storied tradition and such an amazing place to go to school and to play lacrosse. I was an honor to be selected by your teammates to be someone to be the voice, the eyes, the ears of the program. But I thought, in both my cases, I had two really strong senior classes that helped along the way. So it really wasn't a lot of decisions made by just the captains. It was really the senior classes that helped lead those teams.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you think like learning from the seniors, like as a freshman, helps you like get through the rest of your years? Like if you have a good senior class?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We talk about it a lot with our guys right now. It's like the senior class drives a lot of your success. And so, good leadership starts with those guys as the position, the guys with the most experience, right? They've been there for 3 or 4 years. And so anytime you have good leadership, that helps to make your program and your teams very successful.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know that you were a defenseman. What was like who were some of the hardest players to guard, like through your college career?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's this guy, Paul Rabel. Have you ever heard of him?
Yep.
He was a tough guard. There's no doubt about that. I think there was a period where he was probably unguardable, and so every time I went up and tried to guard him, I would almost try to call for a slide because I knew that they were gonna
Right.
slide to him eventually. But yeah,
Yeah.
he was definitely one of the toughest guards I ever had to do in my time playing defense.
Um, what did so he went to Johns Hopkins. How frequently did Maryland and Johns Hopkins play?
So we played them every year. That's like the rivalry. Have you seen some of those games? Now they have a
Yep.
cool trophy that they give out. So we would play them every year, and then maybe if they make the playoffs, we make the playoffs. Sometimes that aligns. I know that has happened in the last decade or so. They had some really big games in the quarterfinals and in the semifinals as well too. But typically one big game a year, and that's the rivalry as they call it.
Yeah.
One of
Right.
the
That's
longest
especially what
standing
makes it the
rivalries.
big rivalry.
No
When
doubt.
you had that one game. Because like Virginia Tech and Virginia, they play a decent amount, but those are always big games.
Huge games. Nothing better than a big rivalry game, man.
Yeah. Um, what was it like making the jump from college ball to the MLL?
I think in any time you move up in a new level, it's the speed of the game, right? And adjusting to how fast everything was going. We actually played back in the day in college. We had these things called horns on the sidelines. So anytime the ball would go out of bounds, there would be a horn, and then you would be able to sub anybody you want onto the field. So there's a lot more coaching involved, lots more strategy. But in the pros, they took the horn away, so it actually was great for my game because I got to pick the ball up off the sidelines to get going, kind of like you guys get to play today.
Yeah.
We got to adjust to that and the speed, and obviously you're throwing to guys that are professionals, so you can throw some passes that you might not get away with in college, and hopefully guys catch it, or you have a better understanding of how they do things defensively, and you can trust some matchups, and for us on the teams I played, I played with a lot of all stars, so it was really nice to be able to learn from them, and then also be able to watch them play live on the field too.
Yeah, that's right. I also think that moving from college to to the pros is also a big step because in the pros everyone is like insanely good. Like you look at the Atlas, the Denver Outlaws, and their whole attack was like Toraton winners and stuff. So it's definitely another level.
It's incredible, man. Do you watch a lot of PLL games?
Yeah, I watch I think every single PLO game.
Who's your squad?
What?
Who's your squad? Who do you like?
Oh, the Water Dogs, the Philadelphia Water Dogs.
Oh, man. Yeah, they've had a couple good years back there, right? They won it a couple
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah, they're doing pretty good. They lost quarterfinals or semifinals to they lost to the Atlas and but that was a great game. Atlas is a great squad and they actually didn't play that bad, which was, a win. Especially because I talked with Ben Ware who scored two or three 2-pointers
Oh
like in the
wow,
first half and that was just cool watching him.
he's a really good player.
Yeah. Um, what were your thoughts when you were traded from the Boston Cannons to the Ohio Machine?
Yeah, it's a good question, right? Anytime you're with a team for a couple of years, we won a championship when I first started there with the Boston Cannons when I first got out of college. It's tough at the beginning, but then you see the opportunity and go into another team, and it was cool because I had a good buddy, Brian Phipps, who was on the Ohio Machine for a while, and then we drafted some guys, and we brought some guys along that were just good buddies and good friends through the game as you're learning, right? Lacrosse is a very small world, right? And you have a lot of friends through this game.
Yeah.
We had a really good time for the 2 or 3 years that I was out in Ohio. Have you ever been to Delaware, Ohio, Juddy?
I've never been to Delaware, Ohio.
Pretty cool, man. It's right outside of Columbus, about an hour outside of Columbus. So we played at OWU, Ohio Wesleyan University, and it was a pretty cool experience. We would go out there, play a game, and then I would come back, and it was a really good time to have time with good people, and that's what happened. We had a really good run those 2 or 3 years we were out there.
Yeah, it seems like that. It seems like that was really fun. Um, did you think that from moving from the Cannons to the Ohio Machine was a big step or not really? Like it was not that hard.
Not that hard. I think you adjust, like you said. There's so many good players in the professional world, right? So you just
Yeah.
adjust to what their skill set is, and if you're playing with guys that you know a little bit better, like Brian was my goalie in college, so it made it easier for me to understand, hey, if he's going to make this save, I can get out a little earlier, or this is where he likes to send guys, and it made it a little bit easier in that sense. But you just kind of adapt, you learn, and again, you just try to have the best time you can with some really
I
good people.
mean, 100%. When did you realize you wanted to coach?
That's a great question too, Jody. I think it was always in the back of my head after that injury. I definitely thought like, hey, I could get myself into this. After I graduated college, I went to a small boarding school called Bridgeton Academy in Maine, and up there I was the defensive coordinator right away, and I had 5 guys that I was in charge of, and I got to really dig in deep to like, all right, I'm going to invest in these 5 guys. I'm going to try to make them the best defensemen that they possibly could be. And Bridgeton's a unique place because it's all postgraduates. Do you know what a postgraduate is, Juddy?
Like you graduate and it's like after college?
Yeah. So it's 1 year after college, or after high school, actually. It's not after college, it's after high school.
Oh, after.
So
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
all the guys were trying to get into better colleges. So they would go up there for 1 year. And so I really dug my teeth in deep to try to help them get into the next level, and fell in love with it there. Got lucky to go down and coach with the Terps for a little bit. And that's where I got, kind of the bug of like, all right, this is cool. This is intense. Always been a competitor. I like to try
Yeah,
to, you know,
I'm the exact same way.
let's try to win. Yeah. You like that?
I'm a
You're a
competitor
competitor,
for
Jody?
sure.
Nice.
Um, so did you always know that you were gonna end up coaching like the powerhouse boys Latin? Like, was that always your dream? Because Maryland it's not that far.
Yeah. No, I never thought I'd get to boys Latin, to be honest with you. After I coached at Maryland for a year, I went to another boarding school called Salisbury School. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I've heard of Salisbury School.
So Salisbury School is a boarding school in New England. It's one of the better boarding schools out there, and
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be there for a really long time. But I got a phone call from Coach Shriver, who's like the legend around here. He's actually right there in the back of my thing. You see him right there.
Yep, I see him right over there.
Yep. He uh he called me up and he's like, Scruffy. That was my nickname he used to give me.
That's awesome.
What are you doing right now? I was 26 at the time. I didn't think that I, would ever have a chance to get the job, and went down and interviewed, and things worked out the way they did, and it was great because I wanted to always be closer to my family, so kept being
Yeah.
close to Baltimore, and very
Oh,
great.
so your family lived in Baltimore and in Boys Land. Okay, that makes
Yeah, we
sense.
live right in Baltimore, right in Towson. We've been
Yeah.
to
So
Towson,
really close
Baltimore.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. What's the biggest difference between playing in college and coaching high school?
It's another really, really good one there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would say, just the time, right? The time that you had with everybody, like in college, right? We lived every second around lacrosse and school, right? School and lacrosse were our 2 priorities at all times, right? You go to class, you go to training, you go to lifting, then you go to lacrosse, right? That was our day. Here in high school, these guys have classes for a majority of the day. And then right now, like we're in the fall, so these guys are going to football practices, and then they're going to soccer practices, or they're going to robotics, they're going to something besides lacrosse, and I
Yeah.
love that. I mean, Juddy, do you play another sport?
Yes, I play football for my school.
What position?
I play wide receiver and safety.
Nice. Any tutties this year?
Huh? No,
Yeah.
we haven't. I haven't any touchdowns. We most of our touchdowns, we probably run the ball 80% of the time, and it's mostly like QB counters. So because our quarterback is huge. His name is Jace,
Yeah.
and he's insane.
Nice. So you're a lead blocker. You're doing what you need to do.
Yeah, I block most of the time. Yeah.
Good for you, man. Team player. I like it, Juddy. But like to my point of like just the time, right? We only get our guys for a certain amount of time, whereas in college, like my goodness, we were with each other all the time, and that's why we have such a good relationship.
Relationship. Yeah, 100%. Who are some of your coaching mentors?
That's a long list right there, Jody. I think it starts with my dad. I grew up, and my dad is a very good player. He's actually in the National Lacrosse Hall of Fame, which is pretty cool. He played at Maryland too, which was
Yeah, that's awesome.
really neat. So always learning from him. And then in high school, I mean, I had probably one of the most recognizable, and probably one of the greatest high school coaches to ever coach in high school lacrosse, and Bob Shriver. Like I said, he coached 40 plus years here. I would say he's a big reason that boys Latin lacrosse is what it is right now because
Yeah.
of his success. You know, 3 national championships, and a bunch of MIA championships, and a bunch of guys going off to play in college lacrosse. He was definitely a huge mentor of mine, and still is. I get to work with him right now, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then, you float into the college years again. I had some, again, Hall of Fame coaches, and Coach Cottle and Coach Slavkovsky, who was our defensive coach when I first started. Coach Moran is still a good friend of mine. He was our offensive coach when I was at Maryland. And then, I was fortunate. I got to have a set because of my injury. Um, you know, I had an extra year of eligibility, and that's when Coach Tillman came in and took over the program. And, I spent that last year with Coach Tillman, Coach Warren, and Coach Moran, and those guys are
Yep.
still huge, huge mentors of mine. Talk to them a lot, and try to pick their brains on how to build culture, how to what's the X's and O's that are working right now. But to go down the list, again, a lot of amazing coaches that I'm very fortunate to have played
A
for.
100%. I need to meet this Coach Tillman. You and Mark and
Okay,
Michael all say that he's like the greatest of all time.
I think his record speaks for that, right?
Yep. Um, Boys Latin has such a legendary lacrosse tradition. What makes Boys Latin so special?
Jeez, Jody, coming up with some good ones, man.
Thank you.
I think like in any good organization or team, it comes down to the people, right? You're looking at that picture over my shoulder right now. Like, there's a lot of great players that have come through Boys Latin, and those players become alumni who are super passionate about supporting the program. And so, just having some really amazing people that have come through the program, like the kids I coach right now, are all high character young men that want to go off and do big things at the next part of their world, next part of their journey, wherever that might be. If that's playing college lacrosse, if it's not playing college lacrosse. Some of my favorite stories are of guys that are playing like club lacrosse right now at Virginia Tech or James Madison University, and they're
Yep.
absolutely having a blast and going to Virginia Tech football games. And
Yeah, Virginia
as
Tech
a fan,
football.
man, have you been to one of those games?
I've never been to a Virginia Tech football game. We went to a UVA football game, and I forgot. I think they may have been playing Virginia Tech. It was either Virginia Tech or Maryland, but it was super fun.
Got to get to one of those. Pretty cool.
Um, so who's the toughest competition that y'all face? Like Boys Latin faces like each year.
Well, I'd say in our league, they're all really tough, right? I compare our league to like the SEC of
Yeah.
college football, or like the ACC or Big Ten of college lacrosse, like Patriot, like you name it. It's pretty competitive. Like, for example, last year we had 5 teams that were in the top 25 of the country at one point, right? So
Yeah.
every week it's really tough, and so you have to be prepared. And so Tuesday, Friday schedule, so you have a game on Tuesday, and you got to get ready for the next game on Friday, and they're all really, really good teams. And so there really is not one specific team I could point out. I think they're all really good.
Especially since I know that the MI isn't it the MIA
Yeah.
conference?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the it's like one of the biggest conferences in high school across. So yeah, that makes sense that all the teams are gonna be tough.
Right.
Um, Especially I think I know three. I know Calver Hall, Spalding, and is it St. Paul's maybe?
St. Paul. Yep.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, and mostly I just like know that because I watched like, the Brendan Millen videos and Mitchell Pelkey. Um, so
YouTube,
they're
YouTube
good.
guys, Instagram, all that fun stuff. All over.
Yeah.
Keep it on
Um,
those guys.
yeah. What's your coaching style like? Are you like more of a fired up coach like on the sidelines, or are you like a stay calm coach?
I would say I'm a healthy mix of all those coaches I just talked about, right? And then I put
Yeah.
my own little flavor on it. Do I yell and scream and stomp up the sidelines a lot? Probably not as much as some of the other coaches, but I think I try to keep calm in pressured situations, and understand that a lot of the kids kind of react to how you were coaching, so you don't want to get too amped up, but also you need
Yep.
to know, like, hey, you got to set a tone, you got to set a standard. So when guys are not doing things the way that we try to lay them out for them, that's definitely when I can be a little stricter, if that makes sense. But
Yep.
definitely try to relate with the players more than anything, knowing like, hey, this was a coach that I really liked, and this is how he coached me, and try to use that and then put my own little spin on it.
Right. That's awesome. So kind of going back, what's it like being in such an elite conference?
It's cool. The best way to describe it. It's really fun. I mean,
Yep.
every single week we get to go up against a top ranked school or
Yep. The
really a really
best of
good
the
player.
best.
Like again, you follow all these guys on your social medias, right? We get to play against those guys and get to game plan against those guys. Just like how the best way to describe it is just like college lacrosse in high school, right? So, okay, one week I'm playing this player who's going to Virginia, and then I'm playing this player who's going to Carolina, and then we have this week we're playing these guys that are going to all ACC
Yeah.
schools, they're all Patriot League schools, they're all different schools. Like, um, it makes it really exciting, a lot of fun, and I think our guys get into it, and then you can, you know, make it competitive with the guy.
Yep.
Love to have that play. Me versus
Yeah,
you.
like you said, I think
Iron
it
sharpens
definitely
iron.
what?
The iron sharpens iron. You heard that saying before?
Uh-uh.
Yeah. Sometimes the iron sharpens iron. I mean, the strong sharpen the strong, right?
That's awesome.
And make each other
Um,
better.
like you said though, I think definitely having the players play against the best of the best is like that really makes them better as a team because, it's not like you're going against a bad team because every team is good, especially in your conference. So, that's cool.
And our ultimate goal, Juddy, right, is to get them ready for college and beyond college, right?
Yep.
So we want them to be ready to go play at that school or that Division 1, that Division 2, Division 3 school, and that they're prepared for that. So, yeah, we do a lot of best first best guys trying to get better. Very competitive atmosphere, not only in the game week, but also in practices too.
Yeah. Um, so kind of going off of that, what do you think the little things are that separate guys that are great from guys that are good?
Yeah, there's little details, right? There's little details that every secret sauce that everybody wants to have. I think it's consistency, right? Consistency on how you behave and consistency with your work ethic, right? A lot of guys like to say, "Oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going to shoot 6 days a week, right? Or I'm going to do this." But how intentional are you are with those shots, right? Is it 6 days a week of good shooting, or is it 3 days of good shooting and 3 days of it was okay shooting, right?
Yeah.
I think the more intentional you are about productive reps and productive practice, that can separate you for sure. And for a young guy like yourself, like what are you working on that's not so great? Like, is there something that you think that you need to work on, Juddy, right now?
Um, I think, the biggest thing is probably my right hand.
There it is. Oh, you're a lefty, Juddy.
Yeah.
We gotta talk, man. We love lefties, man.
Yeah.
Big time fan of lefties. Lefty attackman.
Yeah.
Oh, man, after my own heart. I want to come back as a lefty attackman.
But yeah, it's awesome, especially like, because I've always liked playing for my team, especially because like I'm the only lefty attackman, so like I have to be on the field. Um, but we just picked up a new lefty. He's really good. His name is Connor. And it's been good having him because sometimes when the righty break doesn't work, we have the lefty break in our back pockets, and that's definitely something that comes in handy.
Yep. And Connor will probably make you better because you want to be just as good as Connor, and you want to be, and Connor will just want to be just as good as you, right? And so
Yep.
back to the point of like, hey, all right, I need to work on my right hand. That's what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to go work on something that I'm not very good at because a lot of times we shy away from that, like, oh, I'm not very good at my right hand, so I'm not going to work on it. I'm just going to work on these lefty step down shots for 12 yards. Well,
Yep.
maybe I
A
should be
hundred
working on
percent.
my cradling with my right hand and some pressure passing with my right hand too,
Yep, and that's also where consistency comes in.
no doubt.
Um, how do you build leadership and team chemistry with such talented players?
Jody, these are great questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. So again, we talked about it a little bit. Like leadership's so important to any organization or any team, and we talk about it a lot. We actually are bringing in a company this year to work with our guys on just leadership. So he's taking all the returners, and they have a system that they've put in place. So we're going to do this. It's called Lead 'em Up, which is pretty cool. And so then we're going to work with the guys every month on just some leadership tactics and how to apply them to the team. And again, it's not just the seniors that are learning this; the juniors are learning it, the sophomores are learning it. So eventually, when they do become positions of leaders, they can do that. We also, with team chemistry, I think that kind of separates a lot of the teams in our league is like, how well do we get along? So we actually divide our team up into smaller teams. So we typically have about like 45, 50 kids on the team.
Right.
So we divide them up into little smaller teams. We call them accountability groups. And we have year-long competitions with these guys in the accountability groups, and it can be something as silly as tic-tac-toe, or it could be something as like serious as reviewing the scouting reports and giving them the ability to pick the songs for the week. We have these little accountability groups which bring about chemistry, and guys remember that. And then we take a big trip down to Florida every year. It's our spring break trip, and that's definitely a big chemistry builder for us. Go down to Florida,
Yeah.
hang out for
Right.
5 days, sleep in a hotel, kind of feel like you're a college team. That's a huge chemistry builder for us too.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool that y'all just get to head on down to Florida for spring break. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's neat. It's a really fun trip.
Um, what are the most important skills a player should have to be successful?
Yeah, I'm going to go right to the fundamentals, Juddy. Right, fundamentals are so important. We just talked about your right hand. Right, stick work is kind of the lifeblood of our sport. Right? You
Yep.
got to be able to catch it and throw, and in your case, right, catching and throwing with both hands is super important as an offensive player. Right, and stick work can separate a lot of players. Right, so if you have good stick work, you tend to get on the field a little bit more. Right, I talk
Yep.
to a lot of guys about ground ball play and like how important ground balls can be. Like you can get a scholarship to college by picking up ground balls. You think about that, right? Like if you
Yeah,
do a
that's
really good job off the ground, a lot of college coaches will notice that and they'll want you on your team because the ball is so important. So I would say those simple fundamentals, man. I would keep harping on those. I'm a big guy with fundamentals. We do a
yep.
lot of fundamentals to start the year.
My our director would our director says the same thing. He says ground balls win games, and that's like one of the biggest things that he says. And our head coach for our 31 team says that uh at the first practice he always can tell who practiced over the summer and who didn't, because you know it I can even see it too, because you can definitely pick on, you can see the ones that didn't because it's obvious.
No doubt. No doubt. It separates you, no doubt about it.
100%. How important is lacrosse IQ compared to pure athleticism?
So I think IQ will get you on the field no matter what. Again, a lot of guys get on the field for us because they understand the game itself. And so I look at stick work and smarts are super important to getting yourself on the field, right? The athleticism stuff, that's kind of a you versus you thing, right? You can get on the field by being a great athlete, but if you don't understand what's going on the offense or how to play defense or how to recover on the defensive end, it's going to be really hard for a coach to keep you on the field. And so you can always work on your athleticism too, right?
Yep.
You can always work on your IQ as well too, like getting in, watching film, and
Study
studying. But
plays.
guys who tend to have good IQs tend to get on the field a lot more because they understand, okay, maybe I'm not the guy who's running by the guy. Maybe I'm the guy who's off the ball, who's working to try to find that open area, or I can work
Yep.
on two-man games. Like two-man games has become a huge part. Do you guys run that in your offense at all?
So that's one thing that I really want to run. We don't actually have a two. We don't have the, well, for my regional team we have the two man, but on just club we don't have the two man, and it's kind of frustrating. But we run a 23, and we run a 3-3.
And a lot of it's personnel too, Jody, right? You got to know who you got and what you're able to do, right? So you don't have two slick guys, you might not want to run a two-man game. If you have two really athletic guys, you might want to run like a single speed dodge, offense because you know you're going to create some offense. So yeah, but back to your original point, I think IQ is super important, and you could be a great athlete, but not understanding the game that might take you off the field if you're not understanding what's going on.
Yeah, our coach got on. He said that he played more time on the field because he understood the plays and worked hard in practice than like some of the seniors, because they didn't understand the plays and they didn't have the work ethic to, actually understand it and stuff.
No doubt.
Um, what's something you wish every parent in youth lacrosse understood about the recruiting process?
So I would say that the word process is a big part of it, right? So recruiting process, I think a lot of people see what happens in that first month, right? This first month from September 1st to October 1st, let's call it, well, it's October 20th, but there was a bunch of Division One commits very quickly, right? And it went off the board and they all went really fast, right? A lot of those guys that were taken were some of the higher end recruits, right? And not everybody's a higher end recruit, right? We have guys that were able to be in that first month group that committed to
Yeah.
Division II schools, but we have plenty of other guys who don't, who didn't get those phone calls, who didn't have that opportunity to talk to coaches or go visit schools. So there is a definite process to this all, and I think everybody has this goal of being, oh, I'm going to be a Division One player, or I'm going to be this high end recruit. Well, that's not the case for everybody, right? And there's so many. Another thing I would tell parents, like, there's so many amazing schools that lacrosse can get you into because of your abilities, right? And that's in the Division One, that's in Division Two, that's in Division Three. There's so many good schools, and you can get such a great education. And I call lacrosse the connecting sport because that's what it does, right? I think everybody would, if you love lacrosse, Juddy, just like you do, you want to go up and play professionally. But a lot of times, there's some really good opportunities to go off after lacrosse and get a great job, or be connected with a good alumni association where you can you know get some more opportunities for yourself after lacrosse is done. And that's what I hope that parents kind of see the bigger picture of recruiting. Like, hey, you might not be that first month, you might not be that first wave of commits, but there's a school out there for so many people, and if you stick to the process, you're going to find the right home for you.
That's awesome. I liked exactly how you worded that because, yeah, some kids don't get the word right away. I was watching this thing on Instagram. It was like the showcase, and this kid was really good, but he was like a four-star recruit, and he didn't get the first phone call compared to like some of the other kids on his teams, and and he still got recruited. I mean, I think he's going to Princeton or something, and and that's Ivy League school, Princeton. That's awesome.
No doubt. Again, some of the
Um,
yeah.
do you have any thoughts on the NIL?
Yeah, I think initially I was against it, and I still don't think it's awesome that there's so much money being involved with the players, and decisions are being made and kids are leaving. I certainly understand why some kids are doing that. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, so I think we're gonna just kind of have to adjust with it. But originally was against it. I think it's part of the sports world now, so just
Yep.
gonna adjust with it and go with it.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, I didn't really understand it until like the first, until I first like really like when I was first told what it actually is. But I don't really like the idea of players getting paid to play college because it doesn't really make sense until you like maybe seniors maybe, but I just don't really know yet. We'll have to see how it all
We're all
plays
still
out.
trying to figure it out. Yep.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna do rapid fire, which is just where I shoot out a question and you just quick answer.
Yep.
All right. Favorite lacrosse head of all time.
Oh wow, good question. The X2 is, I think that was the STX X2. That's what I used
All
most.
right.
The Excalibur.
Turf or grass?
I like the hybrid, like, grass turf, I guess you would call it.
Okay.
And I got a little bit of both, the field turf, if you will.
Yeah. Um, who's tougher, offense or defense? Four boys Latin.
Tougher. Oh, okay. For boys Latin, well, I think Coach Sharf, my defensive coordinator, would say the defense, but the offense is pretty tough as well too. I would say it'd be a good street fight for sure.
100%. Bucket list stadium to play or coach in.
Ooh, really good question. So I just went down to Texas to visit a good buddy, and I went to the Cotton Bowl, and I thought that was really cool. Have you ever heard of the Cotton Bowl or
Yeah, I've heard of the combo.
the Red River rivalry? It's Oklahoma versus Texas in football.
Yep.
After going to that, I think that would be pretty cool to coach in, whether it be lacrosse or football. I think it'd be a pretty
100%.
cool environment.
If you weren't coaching lacrosse, what would you be doing?
I try to be a professional golfer.
100%.
Get
That's
on,
what my dad would say too.
yeah.
One
So
word that describes boys Latin lacrosse.
I'd say grit. Yeah.
How many times have you been on Sports Center Top 10?
I think once, maybe. We got lucky. There's a pretty cool hidden ball trick we pulled off against North Carolina in the quarterfinals
That's awesome.
down there, and we got put on.
Um, and we have one last audience question from M. White.
Okay.
What's a better song, Avicii, Levels, or No Broke Boys?
Oof, that is the toughest one you've asked me so far. I would say right now, no broke boys, but back in the day, levels was something that got us really fired up.
100%. And then speaking of songs, also our last question. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Go to karaoke song, Smash Mouth All Star. Pretty good at that one. That
All
one.
right, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Coach, for hopping on. I really appreciate it. It was really cool getting to talk with you. I haven't talked with any MIAA schools yet, so that's really cool, and I really appreciate it.
Juddy, man, I'm so grateful that you asked me to do this, and thank you so much for your time. And could talk shop with you all day. Please give my best to your cousin, to Shark, and to Aunt Katie. They're wonderful people. By the way, did you know he was the MVP of the alumni game?
Oh, yes, I did know that. I did know that. I did know that.
Started the Terps alumni all strong. He had like 10 saves in the first
Yep,
MVP. So give him a big pound for me and a big hug to all of them.
I will.
All
All
right.
right. Well, I'll see you. Thank you again.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jody. You're the man.
Yep.